Hey there, beautiful souls. Welcome back for today's message. Today I've got one coming at all of us as we use escapism and we distract ourselves and we kind of avoid the very things that would set us free. So I would absolutely love for those of you who are tuning in, whether you're watching the recording or you're catching me live, I'd love to hear from you guys. So today's message, like I said, is going to be one that my hope is that it gives us some fuel, some energy to get back on track, to notice and be aware of the things that we may be avoiding in our lives right now, and to basically get a new perspective on how that's actually, the avoidance of the things that are uncomfortable are actually keeping us in a bit of a prison. And we mistake, our avoidance strategies, whatever we do to distract or procrastinate or not have to deal with it or put our heads in the sand, we mistake that instant gratification that takes place with that as our sense of freedom. And what I would love by the end of today's message with you guys today is to hopefully kind of kick us all in the butt a little bit and realize that it's actually costing us our freedom. And if we actually want to feel free and energized and inspired and making some meaningfulness in our lives and basically creating what we want, then we have to kind of revisit this and look at it from a different way. And today I'm going to give you just a really simple strategy that I use in my own life. Whenever I kind of reach my edge energetically for growth or breakthrough or facing of challenges or problems, and what I do in order to, and I've had to learn this kind of in a roundabout way over the years of my own personal development and what works and what really doesn't work, how to just basically break through our limitations and not stunt our growth by mistaking instant gratification and avoidance of problems as our sense of freedom, right? So basically getting over that in a way that edges you closer and closer to somebody who has a huge capacity to handle any of life's challenges, right? So that's what we're going to be talking about today, and I can't wait to see who's able to join me right now. I can see Jamie and Haru. Great to see you guys. Drop me some comments. Let me know where in the world you're tuning in from, and please do play along at home with today's message. And if you do find it valuable at some stage throughout this message or at the end, please do share it with anybody that you care about in your life who you want to see reach their limitless potential. So today's message is that which you are avoiding is the very thing that will set you free. Okay, and so I just love this, right? Because it wakes us up in those moments where we've got that thing on our list that we keep trying to do, and then we keep finding ourselves distracting ourselves. We keep watching Netflix. We keep avoiding and suddenly feeling hungry, right? Or suddenly feeling overwhelmed by emotion and we feel depleted and we need to regroup, or, anything that comes up on, in any sort of way, we get distracted by it and it's just this escapism that we engage in, only to find that very thing that we keep avoiding is continuously sucking and draining our energy, right? So think about it, what this could be in your life, and I'd love to hear from you guys. So is there something in your life right now when we're not engaged in the moment of, the fear or the overwhelming emotions of it or our judgments of it, right now where we're just in a peaceful state and we're just getting on with our day and, maybe you've jumped on this live, right? How can we just contemplate this, right? When we're not in the group of it, but we're actually outside of it right now, and we can view it and say, okay, what is it that in my life, and I guarantee there's something, what is the thing that I am avoiding right now? I'm distracting myself from, okay? And so basically, I'll share a little bit of my journey as I always do. I want to talk about this as just what happened in my life yesterday, and also seeing some interesting growth in a new experiment I'm conducting in the realm of relationships. So let's start with yesterday. So yesterday, I was able to, I'm actually contemplating a new transition and a move in my life right now. And whenever we do this, whenever we make a shift to the pathway forward, we kind of have to regroup and work out, like, what do we need to get there? What shifts need to occur? What changes within me and logistically and all the other realms, financially and relationships, like all these different things, what needs to shift and change in order to get this result that I'm after? And so just yesterday, I was contemplating, what is it that I really want with this new transition? And what is it, like, I basically went through a system in which I have done for many, many years, basically from the beginning of my personal development journey. Actually, no, I think it was about 2014. I actually came across this way or this strategy of helping myself uncover limiting beliefs, right, attached to the things we say we want consciously, and kind of drawing out the subconscious limitations and belief systems whenever you see a discrepancy between what you say you want and the action and the manifestation of that result not happening, right? And so I went through this process, which was basically getting really clear on what it was that I actually wanted, by when, what it looked like, and then I listed out a bunch of reasons as to why do I want that, right? Finding your why, and listing that all out and really feeling it. But the power of this process comes in the following question, which is, why don't I really want this? And you might want to do this at home, right? Why don't I actually really want to do this? And at first glance, you kind of think, well, what a stupid question. I've just listed out a million different reasons as to why I want this. What do you mean, why don't I want it? But basically, when we sit with that question, what actually happens is we bring consciousness to the unconscious, which is basically the driver of all of your results in your life. And what we do is we awaken to the limiting beliefs and perceptions that we have within us, and we can list them all out. And if you are going to practice this yourself, I would say do a minimum of 10 reasons. Push yourself to find a minimum of 10 reasons why you don't actually want the thing you're consciously saying you do. And basically from that process, you're drawing out the limiting beliefs, and then the following part is you basically do the turnarounds on those limiting beliefs. You find out why they're really just BS, right? Why they are, not actually true. And you find the reasons as to why these things are just limiting beliefs and not actually a real gauge on reality, basically. So the reason why I'm telling you about this is because just yesterday I uncovered some limiting beliefs that they actually weren't new to me, but it was like they were still there, right? And given that I've done a lot of work around particularly the belief that was coming up for me, and basically I could just see it's still there. There's still remnants of it still existing in my psyche that is still limiting me, right? And I like to think about it as we tend to have these particular themes of our existence, right? You as an individual have particular themes that you're going to continue to grow through the next layer or revolution of, right? So and I've had to work this out, over time where, I had the mentality at the beginning of my personal development journey, which was, once you find a problem or a challenge that you're faced with, you grow through it and then you never repeat that again, right? And then it's gone and then you've done it. I already grew through that, right? And then over time, I had to realize the hard way and the very self-judgmental way that it's not that you haven't learnt the lesson. It's just you're taking a new vantage point. You're revolving upwards through the theme of that challenge, which you may have till the end of your existence, right? Like that's kind of the narrative or the journey for you. But you have to realize and celebrate the fact that you're always growing through it to the next layer, right? It's not one and you're done, right? It's not black and white like that. It's not two-dimensional, right? It's the revolution up and through to that next layer of awareness through that particular theme in your life. But yesterday, I found myself energetically very depleted within the first couple of hours of my day, despite biologically having a great sleep, health feeling phenomenal, energy should be for all other purposes high, right? And basically what I found that what it was I was edging closer. I was kind of getting to the edge of my comfort zone, where I'd kind of sat with this particular challenge that I've revolved through different layers of in my life, right? And basically I actually had to just like check out for a bit. Energetically, I was just so depleted emotionally because I'd lent into this challenge at a new level that I found myself really needing to take some time to regain some energy, right? And I was really conscious because of my own history and awareness of self and my own patterns of distraction. I was checking in with that. Am I just distracting myself? Can I lean more into this right now? And my past self would have found myself in this same position that you may be able to relate to, which is you lean in, you drum up this kind of unconscious next layer of this fear or insecurity or belief or limitation. And energetically, you feel depleted and you just want to kind of go away from it. But then there was always a part of me that just wanted to push on through, don't distract yourself, get this done, right? Lean into it. Don't let fear win, right? And I would find myself really judging myself. And then what it did, and this is what happens for us as individuals, is that when we treat ourselves like that, judgmentally, forcefully, you need to do this, you have to do this, why are you experiencing this problem again? Does that really inspire us to want to spend our energy in solving the challenge and growing? Absolutely does not. The way I look at it is, if that was your boss in a job, right, how inspired would you be to go to work, right? Versus somebody who celebrates the win, goes, wow, good on you. Look what you've just gained awareness of. Oh, wow. You're coming to the next level of this challenge, this theme. This is that opportunity for growth available to you right now. And hey, I get it, right? Energetically, you just reached an edge within you, right? Energetically, no wonder you're feeling a bit depleted here, right? And why don't you take this time to celebrate that, to lean into that, and then really engage in what feels right to you. And if you're feeling a bit depleted at this point, what have you taken from it? How can you set the next time up to win? Which is what I basically did, which is, what's my next step? Now that I'm really in this and energetically, I need to take a step away and without judgment, but actually with encouragement. And what's my next step for when I come back to this, right? You're planning ahead. And I wrote that step out, and then I left it at that, and I was really kind to myself, right? And then what that does, just like a boss who encourages you and is kind to you and celebrates you, you're inspired to come back again and be consistent with that and go to that next level and go to that next layer, right? Through the treatment of yourself, right? The encouragement, rather than the self-judgment and the push and the expectation, it transforms to celebrating the wins, encouragement, listening to what your needs are of the moment, and setting yourself up for winning the next time your energy is back on. And basically what that does is allow you to step into a new layer of your consistency, all right? So how could you apply this to your own life, right? And I'm going to give you another example of this with my experiment of relationship in my life right now, which I'm finding really fascinating. And if I call myself the human guinea pig of all things personal development, I'm fully stepping into that on a personal level and in a relationship level right now. And basically, identify that thing for you right now, right? What is the thing that you're avoiding, right? That could be the very thing that could set you free. And why is it that you're avoiding it? And look at your treatment of self, the expectation, the judgment, all of those things, and ask yourself, how could I be more encouraging? How could I reflect on this challenge and celebrate myself for where I am now, right? And where I'm going and my commitment to growth, and start treating yourself like the boss that you'd love to work for, right? Like that would just inspire the greatness out of you, because that's who you are basically to yourself, all right? And so let me give you another quick example on this, and then I definitely want to check in with the comments. So do play along. I want to hear from you guys on your perspectives on this as well. But an example for you guys in terms of building the capacity to handle challenges, because that's basically what you do. When you stop avoiding problems in your life and you actually lean into your edge, and then you encourage yourself and you're kind to yourself and you're listening to yourself about where that energetic edge is for you, so that you can not get overwhelmed and depleted by it, but actually be inspired to come back and consistently just edge your way through this problem. What actually happens is you expand your capacity to handle any of life's challenges, right? That are definitely and inevitably coming your way, right? That's the human experience. That's the life that we live. We've got, but it's not about the challenge being this self-defeating process unless you make it that. Right? Unless you treat yourself with judgment and expectation and pressure, instead transforming it to this being the thing that we've always heard about, right? Like transforming the problem into the opportunity for growth and freedom, right? You don't get freedom through avoiding, right, and distracting. That just keeps you even more locked in and stuck, right? The freedom comes as you edge yourself energetically to that next little level, and then you celebrate, and then you come back and you keep consistent with that. And the way you keep consistent is you inspire yourself from within by treating yourself, by celebrating, encouraging, and, being on your own team, right? Being the best boss for yourself that inspires the greatness out of you. And so in my life right now, as some of you guys might be aware, if you've been looking at the Facebook page and all the rest of it, I've basically re-entered an old relationship of mine. So a partner that I was with for 4.5 years, and funnily enough, we were out of each other's lives for another 4.5 years, and we've just reconnected, right? And so basically, it's a really interesting experiment to me in a way, right? That sounds weird to call it an experiment, but it is, right? Because it's such an awakening journey of seeing, how I've grown as the woman that I am, as the human being that I am, and how my partner has grown as the man or the human being that he is, right? And again, with the same common themes of challenge, but where are we on that journey? And how are we celebrating the spiraling up on that journey of the same potential themes that created challenges in our first era together, and how that could potentially come into play in our current relationship, or it's going to, right? We've already had some little tastes of that, which has been fascinating, right? Because we can now see how we've each grown and the journey that we're on, basically. And it's been really interesting. In particular, one of the themes of our dynamic had been in the past, me feeling like there was some sort of challenge that needed to be faced and we needed to have our finger on the pulse of. And at the time, the way I came about that was I'd be kind of walking on eggshells with that, not knowing trusting how he was going to respond to that, wanting to avoid conflict at all costs. And also I would also get to a place of like judgment, right? And his pattern was he couldn't really handle, from my perspective, the challenge or the problem. And so what would happen was there was like a limited capacity to deal with the challenge at hand based on the co-creation of that, based on how I brought it to the table, how I communicated, how I handled it, and also as a reflection of that, like how his capacity to handle that as well, right? A co-creative experience of that challenge. And so what would happen, and you might be able to relate to this in your own life, in your own relationships, is that basically the challenge would never get resolved because it then became so emotionally draining that the focus and the attention became on how it's being communicated, and we got further and further away from the actual challenge at hand till we were so emotionally depleted that basically we just had to go and just relax, or go and just watch a movie, or just go and reconnect in some way, right? And until our energy got back to a normal place, but then we never actually went back to the challenge or resolved it. And so over the period of time that we as individuals have had, which has been fascinating, the curriculums that we've created in life and in love for ourselves in the meantime, I'm really grateful to see and just witness in this very beginning stages of this reconnection how we've grown as the individuals that we are by the edging and the leaning into basically the discomfort and our ways of communicating about and really putting conscious effort towards the resolution of any challenge or problem that we're faced with. And that's taken our own individual journeys and our journeys in other relationships, outside of this one, that whole curriculum, right, to get to the point where we're actually in a process of celebrating our own and each other's growth and how we're coming together when we're faced by, it's only new days right now, so only little kind of challenges that we can lean into right now and witness and experience how, for me personally, it's been about taking full responsibility and ownership over my own well-being, over my own fulfillment, and being able to communicate and express any challenge that arises with love and openness, right? And no blame or judgment, full responsibility, but openness to the co-creation of something even better together, right? And for him, I've seen the transition, which has been huge since our first time together, which has been this greater capacity to feel defensive and then choose love and openness and to trust that we're on the same team. All right. And so it's a co-creation of this dynamic, but it's beautiful to see that the things that instead of avoiding the ways of being that co-create, these unhealthy dynamics or these dynamics that see us have to break up, basically, this leaning in over time, being consistent and taking that responsibility and celebrating ourselves rather than judging ourselves has allowed this huge, tremendous amount of growth that personally and in relationship, which is the result of consistently leaning into the challenges and our capacity to handle whatever life throws at us, right? And so I just wanted to share that with you guys as a great example as to what we're talking about here today. And I know I've done a lot of talking and I've got to hit the road soon. I'm finally off to down to beautiful Warrnambool, so I'll hopefully bring you guys some videos from there so you can see how beautiful it is down that part of Victoria here in Australia. But I definitely want to check in with you guys. So drop me a comment, let me know where in the world you're tuning in from, and any thoughts or perspectives that you'd love to share right now would be amazing. So I've got Jamie and Haru, shine on Divine One, much love and gratitude, and right back at you, my friend. And awesome to see you, Jamie. I'm on a lunch break from Washington State. Glad you caught me live as well. That's awesome. And Judith and Javier, how are you from San Diego? Good to see you. And Graham's here as well. Awesome. And Kevin, hi Vanessa. My girlfriend broke up with me. She never did want to move in. She lives with her boyfriend and wanted to get married at one point, but didn't want to come and live with me. Strange or no? I love it, Kevin. So, you know, well, first off, my heart is with you, my friend. No breakup is ever easy, no matter what side of the equation you are on. There's a lot of grief that needs to be moved through. There's a lot of, self-nurturing that needs to take place. So I see it as an opportunity. Every time there's a breakup, it's this beautiful opportunity to give to yourself what was missing from them. And basically, yeah, I am a big believer, and I can only talk from my own experience. So let me do that. So I actually, over the period of time that I've been out of the relationship that I've just gotten back into now, basically I didn't always know when I was in it, but the curriculum of love, as I call it, that I've experienced in those 4.5 years with a couple of different relationships that I entered, basically I was learning about myself and what I wanted. And I had a similar experience, Kevin, which was in one of those relationships, my partner really wanted to move in with me, and I put it off for a long period of time. And finally, when we did move in together, eventually, we were only together for a short few months after that. And I didn't know it at the time. I was in quite a bit of confusion, and you know me, and using everything as an experiment of my own personal development and self-awareness. I didn't know it at the time, because I do believe you have to go through the experiences to learn and grow and become self-aware at a higher level, which was, I was in that relationship for the wrong reasons, and I wasn't aware of it until afterwards, until I'd lived the experience. And part of that was my fear of missing out and my fear of loneliness. And this person loved me so beautifully, but I allowed my lack of awareness as to the reasons behind being in the relationship fully and being in a state of confusion, which I actually term confusion as your overthinking mind trying to out-battle your internal wisdom, right? Because you always have the answers. You always actually know. I've learnt that as well. But basically, I realized that I wasn't in that partnership as an equal, right? This person really wanted their life with me, and I was confusing myself into believing that that is what I wanted to, but actions speak way louder than words, right? And so I would potentially, give your girlfriend, some leniency in terms of potentially, it might not necessarily be that she just didn't want to be with you and she was just using you or something like that, right? We can always find the worst case scenarios, but potentially, maybe it just wasn't the right fit, right? For some sort of reasons. And when we find the right fit and the alignment, which has no personal bearing on the individual's part of it, we co-creatively create alignment with people, and we just don't with some other people. And not that we can't decide we want to be more aligned with others, but basically that maybe that just wasn't meant to be. And you know what? I'm a big believer in what's meant to be is meant to be, and to always take the actions towards what inspires you, but also be grateful when you repel people who don't actually, who are real about, wanting to end things or not wanting to be with you. Why would you ever want to be with anybody who doesn't want to be with you, right? And that's a beautiful question to ask yourself to build your own self-awareness, right? Why is it that we settle for relationships or attach ourselves to people who don't genuinely have an equality of the love and connection that we're directing in their way? And that's often because where we don't perceive ourselves to be worthy. We feel like we're putting them on a pedestal, and simultaneously, anytime you put somebody on a pedestal, you put yourself in a pit. So maybe the equality is you loving yourself and being aware of your equality and inherent value as a human being, right? That's a self-esteem challenge, that one. So just utilizing it as a beautiful part pathway to give to yourself what you were missing in that partnership. If that was somebody who didn't want to be with you, how is it that you're not wanting to be with yourself? Right? And to lean into that, to find your edge there. And I really do feel like, you know, that's been the hugest mover for me, relationship wise, is to basically become my own one, to basically become the partner or that I've always dreamed of, to basically fulfill that for myself. And that's what I've done in what I've deemed as my soul reunion journal series. So if that's something that you're interested in as well, I've created that for you guys to basically take you on the same journey that I did, where I was being needy in relationships and codependent, and, you know, feeling like life, you know, like I needed a partner to fulfill me, to make me feel happy, to make me feel good about myself, to live life with, right? Like it was a needy energy. And I basically went on a journey of creating these reunions with my soul, basically. And from that process, which has been the most revolutionary process I've ever conducted in my life, I created, based on, you know, the whole journal I wrote with these reunions with my own soul, I created a journal series which directs to the divine masculine or the divine feminine. And it's a journey that you can go on to reconnect and become, you know, that really soulful, connected person or human being for yourself, and to get yourself to a place where you know you'd like to have a partner to enhance your life, but you definitely don't need one, right? And that's a really big shift. And in terms of when we no longer need somebody else to fulfill us, basically what happens is we attract a way higher quality of dynamic that we can share with somebody else. And we definitely do not settle for people who just aren't aligned, right? So that's a huge one. So I hope my spin on that was of help to you, Kevin. I so appreciate your openness and your authenticity and sharing your experience here. It is deeply appreciated. And if you'd like to get access to the Soul Reunion Journal series to start that process of self-nurturing, becoming your one, being really connected so that you attract others who you can really enhance your life with, and relationships of equality, of love, then definitely reach out to me or drop me a comment and I'll shoot you over the details. Love it. And Daryl, hello to you from beautiful Canada. Can't wait to get back there. Change your story, change your state. Absolutely, my friend. And thank you for your kind words. And thank you, Kevin. I appreciate your best of luck in this new relationship. And thank you for your kind compliment there, Javier. And Sam's in the house. Good to see you. And Jamie, I appreciate you, Vanessa. Keep up the good work. It is life. Oh, I so appreciate those kind words, my friend. And grateful as always to know that you find value in these messages. And you're sending love and light and healing from Washington State and right back at you, my friend. And Sam, the old adage, you grow through what you go through. Boom. I love that. Exactly. Perfectly put. And Jamie, that is awesome. I rejoice in your success. Thank you, my friend. And Graham, good evening from England. Good morning from Australia. Right back at you. Always grateful to see you. And Linda's in the house from beautiful Dublin. Oh, I love it there. And Jamie, I went through a divorce. It takes the inner work and the love for yourself that helps. But remember, you don't need anybody to make you happy. You are enough. Single and healing for me. Beautifully said, my friend, and I can attest to that. You know, and in fact, when you start becoming your one, right? You are your one. Right? The one you're searching for that's going to make life all better, you're it, right? And when you actually experience that and live that and are consistent with that and you wake up to that as a reality in life, you realize how much it costs you to settle in any relationship. You realize you don't need to escape loneliness because you've accessed the beauty of aloneness, right? And so there's so much growth to be had on that journey, but it's often the most difficult and challenging for all of us. I can definitely say that. But again, Don't avoid it. It's the very thing that will set you free, is developing that beautiful relationship and connection to your own soul, right? Basically. And I love your authentic and open sharing here, Jamie, as well. You are so appreciated, my friend. And Mammy is here as well. Good to see you. So anybody else just joining me right now, I hope you catch the recording, get a ton of value from today's message. And I'm sending you all of my love, and I'll see you very soon. Thanks so much for showing up.